Number 23. The author of Passage 1 would most likely agree that, while the Cultural Revolution was a tragedy, it was necessary to purge corruption. The Red Guards were violent from the first moments of the Cultural Revolution. The economic reforms of the 1980s relied on infrastructure established during the Cultural Revolution, and Mao Zedong should bear responsibility for the Cultural Revolution. Well, let's look at these one at a time. While the Cultural Revolution was a tragedy, it was necessary to purge corruption. Nothing here that the author of Passage 1 says. Remember, we're looking at the author of Passage 1. Nothing the author of Passage 1 says that the Cultural Revolution was necessary to purge any kind of corruption, right? There's nothing here to suggest that he's saying that at all. He's just talking about how it started, what happened, how bad it was, and that it was a humanitarian disaster. So, there's nothing here to suggest that it was necessary to purge corruption. So that's completely wrong. So A is out. Red Guards were violent from the first moments of the Cultural Revolution. Well, if we look at where it talks about the Red Guards, it starts here. Groups of children banded together, calling themselves Red Guards, to fight against alleged capitalist influences in China. Their early efforts were innocuous enough, right? Poster shaming the more bourgeois members of their communities, but soon later moved on to more violent measures. So he's essentially saying the exact opposite, right? He's saying that initially it just started off as a bunch of children shaming the quote-unquote capitalists, the capitalist influences in China, right? And their early efforts were innocuous. Innocuous means harmless. This word means harmless. So they weren't violent from the first moments, right? Initially, it started off as just children shaming, capitalist influence. Letter choice C. The economic reforms of the 1980s relied on infrastructure it established during the Cultural Revolution. This could seem like a right answer, but it's not, because this is actually something that the author of Passage 2 says, and we're only looking at the author of Passage 1. So this is not the right answer. This is the answer to some other question. If this said Passage 2, you could say that this would be the correct answer, but that's not. This is why it's important to pay attention to the differences and the similarities between the passages. Is it D, Mao Zedong should bear responsibility for the Cultural Revolution? Yes. This is our correct answer, because he says right here, in 1981, the Chinese Communist Party rightly declared the Cultural Revolution as a grave error attributed to Mao Zedong. So in this case, the author is saying that, yeah, they did the right thing, attributing the responsibility to Mao Zedong, right? So the author agrees with that statement, and he actually says that right over here. So D is our correct answer.